thinking back. Drop the class, to establish that the magic, it's automatic. Got a mask, who was that? Living legend, lethal weapon, mastermind, never tied, tell him all. If I am in second, it's after no one. Just give me a second to let them know. I'm the headline, the deadline. I'm ahead time, the rare kind. I'm a living legend, lethal weapon, mastermind, big time.
Golden Gate Bridge, entrance to the iconic San Francisco. The commercial and cultural center of Northern California. A city that's home to one of the most fearsome islands on Earth, Alcatraz. And today, the escape is on.
So away we go here in San Francisco. Alongside me for this iconic race is the 2018 World Triathlon Champion and Olympic and Commonwealth Games medalist, Vicky Holland. Vicky, if you could pick commentary box or cold shark-infested waters, what are you picking?
It's actually a really difficult question, Matt, because this race is an absolute bucket list race for pretty much any triathlete on the planet. It is one that I never got to do, but always wished I had. So there is a part of me that has that little jealousy that they're getting to take on this iconic course. But equally, it is cold in there. It's about 13 degrees Celsius, air temperature around 12. Having just been out there, it is not warm. So these athletes will not be feeling the warmth that we're feeling in the commentary box right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, they certainly won't. And I mean, it's absolutely beautiful out there. That's what I'm seeing. But take us inside the mindset of these athletes, Vicky. I'm looking at how beautiful it is. They, on the other hand, will be thinking, how do they get in the lead? How do they take an advantage into the start of this swim?
Well, that's right. I mean, we're looking at the beautiful, clear view that we've got there when we were watching behind them back at the sunrise, past the boat. It's a stunning day here in San Francisco. Much, much better conditions than we had last year. Last year, it really was quite foggy, very, very cold, even colder than it was today. So it wasn't the greatest conditions last year, but the athletes, that's not going to faze them. Right now, they are all in on this race. They don't care whether the sun has risen or not. What they know they need to do is head towards shore. 2 kilometers straight across the bay, navigating these currents, and that's exactly what they're doing.
So at the moment, it looks like we've got Martin van Riel leading out in front. And then the purple cap you can see is Jamie Riddle of South Africa. And then there's quite a few pink caps behind, but we're just seeing the yellow cap there of Bitados Panagiotis as well, the Greek athlete, 21-year-old Greek athlete, one of our youngest T100 competitors in the field.
Yeah, I think he might actually be the youngest. I'm not sure we've got anyone quite as young as Panagiotis Bitados racing today. And he's a really exciting athlete. He's here on a wild card, so he's someone who was added to the race within the last month or so and has been doing some really exceptional things in this sort of middle distance racing. He's won his last 5 races in a row. I mean, to make it 6 today would be
unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And this is by far the strongest field that he will have ever raced in. These guys are the absolute world best. We're looking at Martin van Riel, Enrico Bogan and Kyle Smith. All of these guys are exceptional, but to put himself right in there at this early stage, that's exactly what he needs to do. So as we saw, they dived off the boat, 2 kilometers heading straight into shore before a long transition area out onto the bike. They're doing 6 laps of 13.3 kilometers with a hill on the way out and on the hill on the way back on each lap. A lot of climbing, about 1,000 meters in total. Once they head out onto the run, it is flat and fast, albeit mostly on gravel in Crissy Field, before heading back to the finish right here.
So Mark Dubrick out in front, and he's finished 10th at the 70.3 in St George. He's raced once this year. Is this whereabouts you'd expect to see him at the front? I mean, he's obviously nicknamed the Shark, so you know he's a very strong swimmer.
Yeah, I'm not at all surprised to see him up there. We've got some really strong swimmers in this field with Mark Dubrick, Jamie Riddle, Vincent Luis, of course Martin van Riel, who was leading until recently. So there are some really, really strong swimmers. But Mark Dubrick, known as one of the best swimmers in triathlon, and on top of that, as we said before, is an athlete who has raced here before and won here before, so he will have a bit of an advantage. Whereas we do know that of the athletes who were here in 2024 racing our T100, there are only 7 who've returned here this year, so it is a very new look field for 2024. Most excitingly, we do have those 3 who were in that epic sprint finish down the final chute there. But what the most interesting thing that I've noticed so far is, just like last year, virtually no separation between the entire field at this point. So that there in the purple hat, that's Jamie Riddle, and again, no surprise to see him right at the front. That's the red hat of Martin van Riel, and then you can see some of these athletes have actually lost their coloured hats. So a lot of them are wearing this black hat you can see as a neoprene hat. It just adds a little bit of extra warmth in these exceedingly cold temperatures, and quite a few of the athletes have their secondary cap, their coloured cap, that's slipped off. That's not that unusual, we do see that happen. Just makes it that bit harder for us in commentary to identify people, and there are quite a few swimming on top of each other there. I think that's Morgan Pearson we're focusing on there. And yeah, I think that might be
Kyle
Louis
Smith
in the middle,
in the
Kyle
white
Smith in the
at the
white,
back,
you're right,
yeah.
yeah. So I think that's those 3 swimming next to each other there. And as we head further back, I was trying to count a minute ago, and I believe we've got the entire pack still swimming together here. I don't think we've had anyone separate off the back just yet.
So not long to go. Well, something to keep your eye on at this part of the race is if athletes are going to choose to put shoes on once they get out of the water. They've all got a box down there with running shoes if they desire. Obviously, they have to take everything with them from the water to the first transition zone. So it's a case, Vicky, isn't it, of just deciding, is it worth the time loss? Are you going to make that up by having better footwear in this part of the course?
Yeah, interestingly, last year, absolutely no one, or maybe one athlete out of 40 decided to put shoes on. Nobody else did, and it's unique to this race. Because it's such a long run, they run nearly a kilometre through transition. That's why they have the option to put shoes on here. A lot of it isn't carpeted, so I guess that's just personal preference. I don't think if it was me, I would probably stop and wait, but last year as well, the athletes were all wearing booties in the water, whereas none of them are wearing gloves, and maybe some of them are wearing booties we can't see yet, but we'll find out shortly.
So, first out of the water, I think, is that still Mark Dubrick?
I think so, yeah. Yes, and Jamie Riddle through there in second. I think that's Morgan Pearson coming through there. Bitados, Aaron Royal is there. This is Kyle Smith in the white cap coming through now as well. Yella Geens, Vincent Louis. I mean, the whole pack is here. I'm fully expecting to see all of our athletes come through.
So all of the athletes make their way out of the De Burt swim course onto that bit of blue carpet, and then next up, as I mentioned, it doesn't look like anyone's gone for those running shoes, but they're going to have pretty tough feet because there's a bit of gravel down there. There's all sorts of surfaces as they run 700 meters. So I mean, the other thing, Vicky, as well, they're running in a wetsuit this whole time, which can't be the most comfortable and the most efficient way of doing it at all.
Well, as you've noticed, they've all got those suits down halfway down to their waist, and that is the most efficient way to run. We have got an athlete here. That was Kenji Naina went
Still
through.
with his goggles on.
He also had his trainers on. So he's the only athlete I saw who's actually put shoes on. Oh, and here we go there. Kyle Smith also has his trainers on. A couple of them do have booties. As we just saw, Antonio Benito Lopez came through with booties. Jason West came through with booties on. But yes, still very, very tightly packed as they head into T1.
So the name of the game here, be as efficient as you can. Get that wetsuit off as quickly as possible. Not always the easiest thing, and some of these athletes make it look very, very simple.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that you're just so schooled and practiced in doing, and I would say the athletes who come from short course, which I guess there's a lot of these guys now, are even better at it because they just are so used to having to do it. Every second matters in short course racing where you're fighting to make big packs. That's not quite so often the case in middle and long distance racing. but they're still all learning that they've got to be super fast and slick through transition. And there we have Vincent Luis with his special 49ers race suit. It's sort of an ode to the San Francisco 49ers, and it's pretty distinctive, isn't it, Matt?
We're not gonna lose sight of him, are we? On the broadcast, you can see.
Absolutely, it's going to be easy to test see where he is. That's right.
Talking about how difficult it was to get gold on a tri-suit this week. So yeah, great to see. Brilliant tri-suit. All the athletes seem pretty well behaved with the 20-meter drafting rule, although you can just start to see as we get near the front of the pack the red light flashing on the race ranger at the back of the bikes. This is what we use on the T100 to determine the distance an athlete is behind another athlete. Once it goes flashing red, you've not got long to overtake and make your move.
That's right. We've just seen at the front there, that blue figure, that is Rico Bogan. He has wasted absolutely no time in getting himself back to the front of the race, and it's exactly what we saw him do in Singapore this year at our season opener.
Big time!
So back to the front, and that looks like Bitados overtaking
so.
Martin van Riel and Rico Bogan to seize the initiative.
Yeah, that's interesting, because that means that they have sort of come back together a little bit now, whereas they were separated. You know, our sort of leaderboard hasn't quite caught up yet. They've obviously not gone over another timing map for us to update yet, but really interesting that move's been made and he's gone straight to the front there.
Imagine if you're Martin van Riel and you're so used to being at the front. Is that Jelle Geens as well?
That's
Goodness
Jelle
me,
Geens.
it's all go at the front, isn't it?
And Kyle Smith.
And Kyle Smith in the action.
That was the three that we saw that were separated, and they have made it back on, and they've gone straight round them.
So while these guys at the front keep changing places, keep us guessing, we're going to turn our attention to the women's race, which is about to get underway out in the bay. And you can see there the boat just in front of Alcatraz in the backdrop, looking absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, I know, another stunning image. We are being spoilt with those images today. As you can see them tentatively eking themselves out onto that ledge. It's not a wide ledge, and it's also very narrow, each spot that they've got, much narrower than they would have at a normal race. So really unique, this start, in just for so many reasons.
So the women's race underway here, and 3 jumpers it looked like, Vicky, there.
You know, I actually thought this in the men's race. There was only 1 jumper in the men's race, whereas we saw probably about 40% of the field last year jump. Similarly, in the women's race last year, it was probably close to 50% of the women jumped in last year. Not so this year. And first thing to note is that white cap, that is Jess Learmonth, and she had a really good start. I noticed that she was really keen, B of the bang. She was diving into the water, and she's really pushing the pace here, and she will have been watching what happened in the men's race. They have a screen on the boat. They were able to see what was going on. They will have seen that there was very, very little separation in that men's race. That's absolutely not the race scenario that Jess Learmonth will want, that she will want to play into her hands. And as a result, she's gone out really hard from the gun. And we can see right on her feet there, that is the purple cap of Victoria Lopez. And wild card here today, but another of our exceptional swimmers. And right behind her, I think, the sun's blinding me a little bit, but I think that is the red cap of Taylor Knibb as well. So all 3 of those athletes there leading that side. And on the other side, yellow cap, who would it be but Kate Woff, riding high, clearly on the confidence that she's got from that race in Singapore. I've heard her say since she didn't think her swimming was particularly good towards the back end of last season. She was worried about where her swimming was at, so she's worked really hard on it. Found the swim in Singapore actually relatively comfortable. And, you know, you can see that she's confident here. She's gone straight to the front of that side. She'll see that it's Jess Learmonth and Victoria Lopez coming across now. And I wouldn't be surprised to see her just kind of settle in behind Jess.
Yeah, they've sort of converged, haven't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly, to try and make this as easy as possible as we make our way on this De Boer swim course out here in San Francisco. So out in front, Jess Learmonth leads this women's race.
Yeah, I'll be fascinated to see as we start to pan back at some point whether they are going to be able to make a separation, because they just couldn't do it in the men's race. As we saw, 19 of the 20 men came out. There we go, brilliant image. We can see that we have already lost, I think, 3 athletes are clearly off the back and 2 just dangling. This is what Jess is known for in short course racing. She's done it for years, and now of course she's stepped up into T100, the 100k distance. She puts the pressure on early and makes you have to work extremely hard for it. She knows the other athletes have a bit of an advantage on this kind of course because of the current, because of the nature of it, but she's not giving it to them easily. She's making them work for it too.
So as the women make their way on the De Boer swim course, let's have a look and see what's happening at the front of the men's race. It's interesting, Vicky, that the lead is changing and the positions are changing a lot. And I compare it with Singapore. We had that definitely at the front, didn't we, with Hayden Wild and Rico Bogan. But it feels like this hasn't quite naturally fit yet, has it, into its path?
Yeah, so very interestingly, Carl Smith is carrying that bottle in his mouth now. Makes me think that something has broken on his bike. He doesn't seem to have somewhere to rack it. So let's go and see if we can work out what's going on here. So that's Yelageen's going round, and oh, there we go. So I think that's actually a nutrition hydration pack. He's got his bottle. What does he do with his bottle now? He can only discard the bottle in an appropriate littering zone, so he may now have to hold on to that bottle until he finds a spot to drop it off.
That is not ideal, is it? I mean, he had it in his mouth, didn't he?
He was carrying it in his mouth there. You can see he's got it in his hand. He's probably going to try and finish off as much of that bottle as he can, so that when he does come to the next aid station, the littering zone, he can drop that bottle off and not have lost nutrition on the way.
So back to the De Boer swim course, the Golden Gate Bridge here in San Francisco. In the background, as swims go, this doesn't really get much better, does it?
It's pretty good, isn't it? I mean, just look at them swimming there with the Golden Gate in the background. Just really epic to see that. And it does, to go back to the first question I think you asked me when I was sat in the commentary box today, it does make me a little bit jealous. I would love to get in there and to complete this race. But I was just trying to count the number of athletes there, and I think there are 8 who are solidly in that front pack, with one just a couple of meters off the back and another couple more. And those athletes, they're not far off. They're going to still come out of the water within 15 seconds, 20 seconds perhaps, of the very front of the race. So that's still not a particularly big gap there. So that's Holly Lawrence there, coming right up on the side of Jessica Learmonth. And what a return she's making to racing. You know, not even 8 months since the birth of her daughter Poppy. Hasn't been seen since the first ever T100 race in Miami at the beginning of last year, where she did deliver a podium performance. And she is back racing, and back racing with intent. You know, putting herself right up here early on in the race it's brilliant to see.
Right, let's take a look back at what's happening on the men's bike leg, and we'll get the chance to see who is where as they all come through the camera shot here.
Kyle came through without holding that bottle, which indicates that he has been through a littering zone, a feed station. He has been able to drop it off.
That would be good, given these guys are working pretty hard. I imagine having a bottle in your mouth is not ideal when your heart rate is in the 80 to 90% of your max heart rate.
That's right, and Mika Newt there was the athlete who seems to have dropped back slightly. So our top 4, was top 5, has become a top 4. Taylor Knibb still in this group as well. She's wearing that red hat. So the red hat Taylor Knibb and the yellow hat, sorry, the blue hat of Julie Duron are still hanging on to the back of that pack. So some big contenders in this pack, and it's gonna heat up as soon as we hit onto the bike, I'm sure.
Yes, the battle between Kate Woff and Taylor Knibb definitely in good shape at the moment, because both of them are in a really, really good position as we come out of this part of the race. And I think it's probably going to be Kate Woff who's going to be first out the water here.
Yeah, that's a really smart move by Kate. She sort of led at the very beginning, settled herself into second and third, and then moved along. That's actually, I think that is Vittoria Lopez who's at the front there. So I think it's actually, so she has got a yellow hat underneath her purple one, which is where it's become a bit confusing. So there we go, Vittoria Lopez through first, Jess Learmonth in second, Kate Woff in third, Holly Lawrence coming through in fourth. That is Taylor Spivey in fifth. Losing track now, they'll go, and then of course right at the back of the group there we've got Taylor Knibb and Julie Duron. So sorry, I missed one of the girls come through there, but we'll get the graphic up in a second.
It's fast and it's furious.
Marta Sanchez, of course. I apologise, Marta. She's made that pack as well. And the next two athletes to come through were really, really close as well. So we are not missing much. Hannah DeVey there. Also just 9 seconds behind Taylor Knibb, so that's a really good start for her. And our wild card athlete, who's only been notified of this 4 days before the race starts. She only arrived 48 hours or just over 48 hours before the race. Katarina Kruger, great start from her too.
Quite a few trainers.
Yeah,
we can see
Kate Woff and Julie Duron.
Yeah.
Interesting. So two of our potentially best runners. Vittoria Lopez seems to have trainers on there as well. I think it might have been Vittoria.
Taylor Spivey just behind, she's in trainers.
That's it. So there are a few athletes there. And of course here you've got, that's Katarina Kruger. So she's got her booties on. So the athletes who've got booties on, they've got that bit of protection from any gravel, grit, anything that might be on the road. But if you've got the booties on, you probably don't want to take them off, put trainers on. That's just going to cost you too much time.
Yeah, different for this year. You don't have to wear booties, you don't have to wear gloves for this year on the T100 here in San Francisco.
There we go, Kate Woff, and that is Taylor Spivey taking off her trainers. So she's got to make sure those go in the box as well, even if you wear those just in that short section through transition. Taylor Knibb getting that wetsuit into the box, and it looks like Kate Woff is going to be our first athlete.
Rapid transition, goodness me.
Yeah, first athlete out onto the bike.
And Taylor Knibb
taking time
on
there.
socks.
Yeah.
She looks like she's composing herself.
Just saw her take a quick look to see who's already ahead of her there and who was already on their bikes.
So Taylor Knibb making her way out of the transition area.
I think followed immediately there by Hannah DeVet, and that shows that she's had a brilliant transition because she was just off the back of them coming out the water, 19 seconds down, and she's made her way right up to Taylor Knibb. That is Paula Finlay there with her custom bike, beautiful paint job she's got on her bike there.
So Taylor Knibb has already overtaken Marta Sanchez there, so her next target will be Julie Duron before she makes her way to find the three Brits at the front, Jess Learmonth, Holly Lawrence and Kate Woff, all at the pointy end of this race.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's Julie Duron. She can see in front of her, so that's her next target. She's slowly moving her way right up to the front now, isn't she? So
if you're
totally
Julie,
expected.
I was going to say, if you're Julie Duron, though, do you know that Taylor Knibb is that close behind you? Will you have any concept? I guess because they haven't gone round a U-turn or anything like that yet.
No, but she will know. She came out of the water with her. They swam next to each other right at the end of the swim. They ran together through into T1, so she will know that Taylor's right there. She won't be in any way surprised to know that Taylor was right there. And she will know again that she got on her bike before Taylor, but there's going to be absolutely zero part of her that's going to be surprised to see Taylor come up on her now.
And it's happened pretty quickly because she's already within a few metres of Julie Duron.
There we go. Look at that stat at the bottom of the screen there. Undefeated in T100 events. 4 starts, 4 wins. I think Taylor has grown into that pressure, into that role as the champion so well over the years as she's developed as an athlete. As we see now, it's almost like a double pass there. We've got Julie Duron going around. I think that might be Kate Woff. And then now Taylor Knibb going right to the front. So Taylor's become so good at coming to these races, knowing that people expect her to win, and still just executing her race plan perfectly. And she's really, really good at it now.
She's on an incredible run. She's not been beaten in the middle distance since October 2022. This is absolutely where she belongs. We've moved our way back to the front of the men's race with Rico Bogan out in front.
Starting to put a little bit of a gap in there. So 6 seconds is by no means definitive, but it is a decent gap when you think how far that's going to actually equate to with the speeds that these guys are riding. So yeah, we're going to see whether he's managed to do anything, he's going to manage to do anything special today. Here we go, back in the women's race. So the yellow athlete in front, I actually believe, is Andre Kubo. So I think we've got a little bit of merging of the men's and women's fields here. So this is the very front of the women's race. Taylor Knibb has now gone round Jess Learmonth, and Jess didn't have any company at the front of the race the entire time in Singapore. She just sat on the front and just did her own thing. I think she'll be really pleased with this.
Big time!
So back with Rico Bogan here, and his gap has now gone out to over 30 seconds, we believe, to Jamie Riddle, Kyle Smith, Jelle Geens behind him. So he's really starting to extend that gap now.
You can see there the positions gained. A huge number for the likes of Kyle Smith and Rico Bogan.
So back at the front of the women's race, that's Taylor Knibb going round for the end of lap 1, closely followed by Jessica Learmonth and Julie Duran. And here in 4th place, that is Kate Woff. So intriguing, we are 1 lap down out of 6, and we have 4 athletes clear away at the front. Taylor Knibb has not quite gone away on her own just yet. She's not having it entirely in the Taylor Knibb way so far. I mean, we're so early on in this race, let's not discount what might come further down the road, but really exciting to see her have a bit of company.
It really is, and I just, if you're Kate Woff there sitting in 4th, you're kind of quite content there, aren't you? The others are setting the pace, but by all means. And we just see Holly Lawrence
and Marta Sanchez, that is, as well. Yeah. So for athletes 5 and 6, they're still in really good position. Jess, of course, off the front all day long in Singapore, before really struggling with cramps as she got later on.
When we were looking at the shots there of Jess Learmonth, I sort of thought Taylor Knibb had drawn out a bit of a lead. It was 6, it's now up to 8. She's just starting to move out of sight at a lot of the parts of the course from the likes of Julie Duran and Jess Learmonth.
That's right, she's just starting to get a bit of separation there, and we know what Taylor will do. She'll just keep pushing here, and now it's up to the others. It's up to Julie, it's up to Jess as to whether they can go with it. I mean, it might simply be that it's out of the realms of where they can go to, with the power that they can push.
Couple of shouts there for Rico Bogan out on the course, and interesting just to look at these timing splits here from the men's side of the race. Martin van Riel 41 seconds behind Rico Bogan out in front.
Well, what's interesting is it appears to be Jamie Riddle who's sort of gone solo up into 2nd place there. So Rico Bogan's lead had got out to about 37, 38 seconds at one point. Jamie Riddle sort of pinged himself off the front of that pack and is going solo, and he's got that gap down to 29 seconds for him. And then we've got the 4-5 athletes sort of all riding together there with Jelle Geens, Martin van Riel, Kyle Smith and Yuri Kulin, and Mika Noot, who again was with those athletes, has sort of yo-yoed off the back. But as I mentioned, he is an athlete who has not been in the best of health. He's had this flu that seems to have been going around some of the athletes, especially those based up in Sierra Nevada. And Martin, I know, had his flu a bit earlier, so he said he's had time to recover, and whilst he's maybe not had the best training block, he's actually recovered and is healthy. Mika has unfortunately only just recovering from the flu now, so it's a bit hit and miss. We're not sure exactly what we're going to see from Mika today. Taylor will know that she's just got to do what she can do. She has to just ride her race and get as much time as she can and then hold it together and run strong. And I think she will know that she can run well, but she'll also know that she won't want Julie Duran, Kate Woff, those people to be too close to her coming off the bike. She maybe want a nice little buffer before she gets there, but there's only so much she can do about that, so she's just got to keep riding her own race. That's Jelle Geens there, coming around for the end of the lap with Kyle Smith behind him, Martin Van Riel behind him again. And this should be where we see Yuri Kulin have to pull off, because he's at the back of this pack, I believe. He'll have to take his penalty anytime now. So he's having a look around. This is Yuri coming round now. And that is Daniel Kleister sort of stuck in the women's pack. And there we go, Yuri is into the penalty tent. He was in a super strong position today, but at some point he's obviously just overcooked it a little bit, got too close into that drafting zone and not passed in time or not dropped back in time. And so now he has the agonizing minute wait. And gosh, doesn't it feel like a long time, even as we're watching him.
So back to the front of the women's race. Started 45 minutes or so behind the men, so we're a lot further back in this, just over halfway though. And Taylor Knibb still out in front. She's built a decent lead, but she's certainly not off in the distance.
She's not. She's just approaching a minute now, her gap over Jessica Learmonth and Julie Deron, and then again Kate Woff holding steady at about 30 seconds behind. It's just where Kate likes to be.
This has been a really, really good bike leg from Rico Bogan. He's looked incredibly strong. He's led for a significant proportion of this part of the race. And he takes that right-hand turn onto the blue carpet. Off the bike, very, very smooth.
There we go.
And makes his way to his stand. Really good support here in San Francisco. And I wonder if a few of these athletes are going to, also a few of the amateurs are going to get some tips on how to do a smooth transition here. Let's keep our eye on how Rico Bogan does.
Say everything has to go in the box. That's the most important thing to say. And all those things he's got down there, a gel, etc., sunglasses, whatever, he has to take those. There we go. Take them with him as he heads out onto the run course. And if he had decided, for example, he didn't want to take them, they also have to go in the box. You can't leave anything on the floor.
So Jamie Riddle takes his foot out of his shoe, and again another nice and smooth dismount off the bike. It's pretty narrow through there, so you want to make sure you get that bit right. Don't want to drop any water bottles, as we saw a few athletes do in Singapore. Oh, and the bike wants to go for a walk,
yeah.
But eventually he gets it.
I'm afraid he's not getting an 8 anymore.
Already being marked down in this sort of Strictly Come Dancing-esque analysis of transition.
And there we go, Kyle Smith rounding the final U-turn as well.
Yelageen's just behind him.
Yeah.
So Jamie Riddle makes his way out onto the run course. He's going to try and chase down Rico Bogan.
Yeah, he's just asking there, just called across to have a penalty. So I think he knows now that he's got one. He can take it on any lap on the run course, whereas on the bike, they must take the penalty on the lap that they incur it. On the run course, it's a bit different. You can choose when you want to take it. And the reason they don't allow that on the bike is because it's such an advantage to continue to sit in the line of athletes and take your penalty right at the end. So had Yuri Kulin had that opportunity, he would have stayed in this bike pack the entire ride and then taken his minute at the end, which actually might be a nice little advantage before you head out onto the run. You've had a minute to stand there, shake your legs out, and then wait and go. Rico looking pretty smooth there. We'll get our first time checks relatively soon to see if those chasers have managed to make any inroads on him, but looking pretty smooth at the moment. So that is the long distance shot we've got there of Yelageen's and Kyle Smith. They are the first two from that chase pack of 4. Behind them will be Martin Van Riel and Mika Nuut. But they've got a chase on their hands if they want to get to the very front of this race. 2 minutes and 39 seconds Kyle Smith was at the 1.8 kilometre checkpoint, and 2 minutes 43 for Yelageen's behind Rico Bogan. Obviously the man in the middle there is Jamie Riddle that they've got to catch and pass as well. Back to our women's leader, and of course it is still Taylor Knibb. That gap is still hovering at just under a minute to Julie Deron and Jess Learmonth. So nowhere near the size of gap that we have seen previously that Taylor Knibb's got, but we're still only, well, we've got still another couple of laps to go for the women here. There we go, Jamie Riddle, so he's coming in now. And right behind him, you can see the headband there of Jelle Geens and the black suit of Kyle Smith. And in the far distance there, you've got Mika Nut and Martin Van Riel running together. There we go, he's indicating he's going into the penalty box now.
And you've got to press the timer to begin, but he'll be using this as an opportunity to recover. It's not ideal, but the very least you can do, like we can see there, he's just stretching out, just trying to get his body in the best possible shape for the last 12K.
Oh, bit of cramp there. Just as you said it, he was trying to stretch and the cramp hit. But he is going to start pretty much level with Kyle Smith, so that'll be a real advantage for him if he can just stretch out those legs a little bit. Here we go. Just as Kyle Smith comes round, there he goes. So Jamie and Kyle are now going to be running together in, well, 3rd and 4th place, really. But we're now back with Jelle Geens. So he is now 2 minutes and 38 seconds down on the lead. And for my money, still looking fantastic, but not making massive inroads on Rico Bogen just now. So right now, Rico Bogen running the same pace as Jelle Geens, and for my money, that was not the way this was going to pan out. We've questioned whether Rico's run is as good as it was in 2024. We've questioned whether he's gone out too hard out on the bike, but right now he is showing that he's absolutely in control, and he's done the perfect tactics so far. There's Mika Nut put in a serious injection of pace there. He does not want to face Martin Van Riel down the blue carpet and that sprint finish. He wants it done and dusted before, so that was a move. Just got to pause for these shots. The Golden Gate Bridge doing what the Golden Gate Bridge does. Just stunning.
Absolutely beautiful.
Going back to the race, I think that is Jamie Riddle and Kyle Smith coming up behind Martin Van Riel. So I think we're about to see them all come together. So that will be for 4th place. Mika Nut's put in quite a big gap there in 3rd.
Huge.
He's made it clear that he is now in contention for that bronze medal.
So not long to go for Rico Bogen, just over 1 kilometre before we go back to watch that finish. We're going to pick up with the women's race, and Taylor Knibb still out in front on her final lap.
Yes,
she's not got long to go either.
Not at all. So she's down on the flat section now within the final 3 kilometres. So she will be coming off the bike soon, probably very similar to the time that we actually see Rico Bogen, very likely now to cross the line as our T100 San Francisco winner. So it's all going to happen.
So on the blue carpet, Rico Bogen might just turn this grimace into a smile. He was 3rd last year, and he makes his way over the finish line. Rico Bogen, you're a T100 winner. Finally, that grimace turns into a smile. Just goes to show how hard he has worked over the last 18 kilometres, over the last 100 kilometres here on the T100. Really, really impressive performance from Jelle Geens. He's already got 1 T100 win. It's going to be 2nd place here in San Francisco this time around. Tongue out through the finish line.
Mika Nut still holding strong for 3rd. That move that he made with still nearly 3 kilometres to go was absolutely the right one. It's going to pay off here.
Brilliant, brilliant performance from Mika Nut.
2 German athletes on the podium. 2 very young German athletes on the podium, and a great return to racing for Kyle Smith after the heartbreak of not being able to start in Singapore. 4th place here today. Obviously something happened midway through the run, but he held it together. 4th place, and a very happy and relieved Jamie Riddle makes it into the top 5.
All of a sudden, those cramps that we saw at that final corner seem to have gone away, because he realises he's on for a tremendous result, the best result, I'm sure, of his career. Jamie Riddle, congratulations, you finished 5th at the San Francisco T100.
Our highest placed wildcard finisher of the day, and we had a lot of wildcards here today with some incredibly high caliber. So to come through in 5th place, what a result for the young man.
Martin Van Riel gingerly over the line.
So there we go, we're back with the women. After the excitement of the men's finish, we've got a whole run to go for the women to see what's going to happen here. And this one, I am absolutely fascinated to see what happens. Right now, we are with Taylor Knibb, who will have just gone round that U-turn, will have seen how close Julie Deron has got in just the first half a lap here. We've got 4 laps to do, so only 1/8 of the way through the course. And right now, that gap that Taylor Knibb had built up on the bike has been more than halved by Julie Deron in just the first half of this lap 1. And there we go. Is that how we can see just coming around the corner in the background? So this is very, very interesting. It seems almost inevitable that Julie is going to catch Taylor. And then the question is, what does Taylor do next?
Okay, let's get some reaction from the men's race. Let's throw down to Alex, who's with Rico.
Tell us about the emotions of today, first of all.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was quite emotional. Yeah, you with the parents. Some tears of joy in the end. So, and yeah, on the one, I had a good day, and Jelle was not closing too much time. So I had always thought around 2 minutes 30. So I know after the half, my legs was quite okay, and then yeah. But I keep the technique and last lap on the backwards, then I know with 2 minutes lead, I should have it, and then I could clap all the supporters, and this was great. And yeah, it's nice to see so many people here. Yeah.
Well, let's take a look then how that men's race finished. In confirmation that Rico Bogan finished in first place. He had the fastest bike of anyone in the men's race. In second, Jelle Geens, and he had the fastest run of anyone in the race. Mikanut in third, Carl Smith in fourth, Jamie Riddle in fifth. A superb performance from the young South African, Martin van Riel in sixth.
And a quick check on what all of that means to the standings, and it is Rico Bogan who has taken pole, Martin van Riel up to second as well, Yuri Kulen, who was brave today, sitting in third in the overall standings.
Julie Deron right behind Taylor Knibb here.
She looks brilliant as well. I mean, Taylor looks good. Let's not do any disservice to Taylor. Her cadence looks good. She looks pretty smooth. Taylor doesn't seem to be showing any signs of distress, but you can see the speed that Julie's moving with. She's a really powerful athlete. You can see she's got really good glute strength and really good cadence, and she's put a spurt in there. She didn't just pass. She's gone hard to make that pass. That was tactical. That's saying to Taylor, if you want to come with me, you've got to up your pace right now. And it's a really hard thing to do, to make that gear change, that step change, and go with someone who's just overtaken you when you're midway through an 18-kilometer run. So this is Jess Learmonth that we've got now. She's currently in third place, but you can just see looming behind her there. That is Kate Woff. Kate Woff, our winner from Singapore, who was totally imperious on that day, won by over 6 minutes, the biggest winning margin we've ever had. Kate Woff has now put herself back onto the podium in a podium position, currently running in third place. So she will now be continuing to try and charge down that gap to Taylor Knibb, but it's looking like she's still got over 3 minutes to try and catch up to Taylor Knibb. Now, I think that was closer to 4 at the start of the run, so she's taken just about a minute out in 1 out of the 4 laps, so she's kind of on track to make this a really interesting final lap or so. But right now our leaderboard has just changed, so we've got Julie Deron in first, Taylor Knibb in second, Kate Woff in third, and Jess Learmonth now down in fourth.
Julie Deron makes her way round that corner, and we're going to get an idea of just how far ahead of Taylor Knibb she is. You can just see her,
can't we? Just coming
there.
And I think Julie Deron might have actually been getting one of those time splits we were talking about as she rounded that corner there. She did take a glance back. It was almost like she was looking to someone who might have been giving her some information, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's where maybe her mum is and just telling her what the time gap is. There we go, that's Taylor Knibb, obviously, of course, going through. She's halfway through the run now. She now knows that if she wants any chance of winning, she's got to keep that pace high, and she's got to hold strong, because she will also know, if she doesn't know already, that Kate Woff is going to be the one coming from behind her, charging her down. And there is Kate Woff, so she's still a good few minutes down. So the time check we've got there, 3:59. So that gap has obviously gone out, but it's going out to the leader. That is the gap back to the leader in Julie Duron. So she's back up to 4 minutes behind Julie Duron, but she's only taken out another 5 to 10 seconds from Taylor Knibb since we last checked. So right now, Taylor Knibb is holding really strong in second. Okay, look at this crowd. This is the corner, isn't it, where you get all the crowd support. That just gives you such a lift as an athlete, and Julie now has come onto that straightaway, which will take her down to the end of lap 3, and she'll know she's just got one left to go. She'll be able to get eyes on Taylor Knibb coming in the opposite direction once she crosses that, when she goes around the U-turn at the end, and that will give her a boost to know that she is taking out more time again on Taylor Knibb, and all she's got to do is hold it together for another, not quite park run, but 4.5 kilometers, and she will take the tape today. But yeah, she was in such good form at the end of last season, and we saw when she could get it together on the swim early on, if she could hold on to the packs early on the swim and set herself up with a strong bike, that she was nearly unbeatable. It was only Taylor Knibb who was able to stay away from her. And the way she rode today, keeping that gap down to just over a minute, that's what set her up for this win. By doing that, she's enabled herself to get close to Taylor early on the run, to blow by her and to just keep going.
So that's Taylor Knibb, a lone Taylor Knibb, it has to be said.
Yeah, that gap now at nearly 2 minutes out to Julie Duron. So they are going to cross paths quite soon. I think we should see Julie Duron coming in the opposite direction, and then that will be the last time that they cross paths. And the next time they'll see each other is at the finish. So there is that lead motorbike, and that is Julie Duron now just passing Taylor Knibb for the last time.
Wow. Significant lead that Julie Duron has built up here over Taylor Knibb. Mustn't forget, Taylor Knibb, a 100% record in the T100. And Julie Duron is about to potentially inflict Taylor Knibb's first defeat over the 100 distance.
There we go. Was that our first smile there from Julie Duron as she heads onto the blue carpet?
Exactly. The smile comes because Julie Duron knows what she's done here. She can go on, give some high fives to the fans. Over she goes. And Julie Duron is proving to everyone here on the T100 that she's got what it takes to win a race. She's had 3 second-place finishes in 2024, but she's going to go one better in 2025. Julie Duron, you are a T100 winner. Amazing stuff from the Swiss athlete, who raises the tape in the air, and that's the smile we've been waiting for.
There it is, yeah, she's held it together so well, and you can see the emotion as she heads over there to her mum. Go on, Tiger, she said in the interview earlier, and Tiger went for it. What an all-round performance. A stunning first win for Julie Duron. Singapore well in the rear-view mirror for her now, and her season has truly begun. But let's not take anything away from Taylor Knibb. She's still put together a really, really solid performance here today. She's been strong across the board. She just wasn't able to get the same kind of gap on the bike that we saw her do often in 2024.
Yeah, it just goes to show the high expectations that she sets, that everyone around her sets, that fans expect of Taylor Knibb. Because we do expect her to turn up to T100 races and win. We do expect that. So a second place is still an incredible performance. Taylor Knibb finishes here in San Francisco in second. It's going to be a third place for the Brits. So Kewaf finishes in third, rounds off the podium here in San Francisco. Not quite the smile of Singapore, but goodness me, still a superb performance.
I'm already already get emotional. No, I'm super pleased. You know, the first race of the T100 series this year in Singapore was a really, really hard day for me, and I went home and yeah, I just felt like I'd lost myself a little bit in that race. So I had to do a lot of work on myself in training just to sort of get back to myself. And today I just had a great day and finally felt like myself again out there.
Just tell us first of all how pleased you were with what you put out there today in terms of execution.
Oh, I mean, I'm actually pretty happy with the execution. I feel like I'm just missing a few gears, and so it's early season and I'm grateful to be here and I'm grateful to be racing, and I'll take it.
Well, let's take a look, shall we, at how the race ended up finishing. And confirmation there that Julie Duron won. She is in first position. Taylor Knibb in second. No surprise to see her with the fastest bike leg of anyone in second place. Kate Woff rounding out the podium in third. Paula Finlay in fourth. Holly Lawrence returning to competition after giving birth to her daughter. She's in fifth. Lucy Byram in sixth. Jess Learmonth, really good to see her make it to the end of a race and feeling good as well. Marta Sanchez in eighth. Taylor Spivey in ninth, and Daniela Kleiser rounds out the top 10.
Matt, thank you very much. Let's therefore take you through the standings in the T100 race to Qatar for the women. Kate Woff, as we said, great to hear from just now, leads the way still. Julie Duron up to second. Taylor Spivey sitting in third. Not long to go until we reboot, reset, and get the athletes back on the start line. But here in San Fran, Duron and Bogan have ruled the roost.